Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, I think I was right again, and this is an opening for Mr. Steve Witkoff, the U.S. envoy to the Middle East, not Russia or Ukraine. Steve Witkoff, remember that name. I think, as I said before, he will be the next Secretary of State. Why? The road was paid for him. How? I will tell you. So, Donald Trump fired today Mr. Mike Waltz. Mike Waltz was the national security advisor to Donald Trump because of a email, a chat sent by supposedly Mike Waltz, including another guy from the Atlantic, Goldberg. And they said, well, Mr. Waltz, take responsibility for including this guy, Goldberg, into the chat chain over there. Well, he said, I take responsibility, I will lose my job. Well, why didn't Mr. Pete Hegseth, the chief of Pentagon, lose his job as well? Why? Because he, in the second set of chats, he also sent chats about Houthi attacks, I think, right? To his wife, to his brother, and to his attorney. Why is he still around? Well, I think because today he threatened Iran. So he kept his job. So Mr. Mike Waltz could not threaten Iran. Therefore, he's out. Rubio is moved. And who's going to go up? Mr. Steve Witkoff. I predict that. I'm not 100% certain, but I've been saying before, Marco Rubio, the former Secretary of State of the United States of America, is just the acting. He's just a pretending Secretary of State. The real one is the Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff. Why? He had nothing to do with Russia, nothing to do with Ukraine, since they are not in his expertise. He is the envoy for the Middle East, not for Europe or Eastern Europe or Asia, however we want to call it, Middle East. Oh, Middle East is in, Asia Minor. Forget about it. He is not has nothing to do with Ukraine and Russia. Instead, though, Mr. Witkoff went to Paris regarding Ukraine and Russia. He went and spoke with Macron. He went to Moscow 3 times to speak with Putin on Ukraine. Remember, the president of Ukraine is Jewish, right? Witkoff is Jewish. It's just a surprise. Mr. Goldberg, the one from Atlantic, is Jewish. Just a surprise. So I think that's what happened. In the second chain of the chat, when the chief of Pentagon did not follow the orders, he said, you know what, where is it? Mike Waltz is fired, but not Hegseth. Why is it? Why is it that the chief of Pentagon is not, when in the second chain of the chats, he sends, how do you call that? Secret? How do you call those chats? Confidential, to his wife, his attorney, and his brother. Had nothing to do with the chats. But Mike gets fired. Why? Make room for Marco Rubio, so the empty space of Secretary of State remains for Witkoff. We find Witkoff is not interested in being the national security advisor to Donald Trump. He wants to be the foreign minister of the United States of America. I predict this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think that's the way it's going to go. So let's read the first article. This is right here from May 1st, today. Trump ousts Mike Waltz, naming Marco Rubio as acting national security advisor after signal chat mishap. 1, but there were 2. Who was in charge of the other one? Now, who did this? They said, well, Mr. Mike Waltz took responsibility right here. So he says right here that he's got responsibility. President Donald Trump said Thursday he's removing Mike Waltz from his role as national security advisor and interim replacing him with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Right there? And we find out here that we go down here somewhere he said, we know we're going to find anything else, right here, the Atlantic editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg. Jewish, revealed in an article published in late March that he knew about U.S. airstrikes against Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen hours before that happened because he was added to a Signal group chat where members of Trump administration appear to be discussing such plans. And they say it was Mr. Mike, what's his name? Waltz. And Mike Waltz takes the fall. I'm going to tell you why. Let me see. This is Hegseth, who said, I'm going to do the guy's job. All right. Full responsibility. In an interview with Fox News the day after the Atlantic revelation, Waltz said he took full responsibility for the embarrassing security breach and that he built the group chat himself. All right. This is the first one. How about the second one? We find out that Trump fires Mike Waltz, right? And then we got the other one and also advisor Alex Wong. And we find here that he took full responsibility right there. And Mr. Witkoff is not interested in getting the place of an advisor. He wants, I would say, the place of Secretary of State, Foreign Minister. CNN journalist claimed, citing her sources close to Witkoff, that the special envoy to the Middle East was not interested in taking over as national security advisor and that his team does not expect him to ultimately be picked by Trump for the role. No, he has a bigger fish to fry. Now, Trump confirms Waltz's departure, and then here, today I made this video on this subject. Pentagon chief, the guy with a second, I'm going to show you that one, threatens Iran amid Houthi attacks. It's exactly what Goldberg, Witkoff, Zelensky Stein, Netanyahu, and all these guys want. Here, Associated Press. Hegseth had, Jesus Christ, man, right there. Hegseth had a second Signal chat where he shared details of Yemen strike. So this is, Hegseth had a second Signal, and the first one was what? Was this guy. They said he had it. But the second, no, he had a second one where he shared the same details with his wife, his attorney, and his brother. Why is he not fired? Rather, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth created another Signal messaging chat that included his wife. The first one, it was this one, and now they say he created it. They say this guy created it. Signal chat mishap. So these guys, I created it. Wait a second, you said here this guy created another one. Messaging chat that include his wife and brother, they forgot the attorney, where he shared similar details of a March military strike against Yemeni Houthi militants. Were sent in another chat with top Trump administration leader Pop. What? So that means there were two of them, supposedly one sent by this imbecile and by the other one by this imbecile. This is not fired because he plays the role. He said immediately, hey, we're going to attack Iran. And everybody was, okay, if you're going to do that, we keep you in power. You have anything to say about Iran? No. Okay, you get fired because we need Mr. Witkoff in place, right? A billionaire as well. So estimated worth $2 billion. And we find out he's Jewish. No problem. I guarantee you this. Right here, envoy to the Middle East will become the Secretary of State. I made this right here on the 21st of this month, of April. Was Pete Hegseth set up or stupid? He included wife, brother, attorney in second Yemen strike chat. He's in because of this, I suspect. And believe me, this guy will become the U.S. Secretary of State. We'll find out. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. I think he's not wanting to be an advisor. He wants to go around the world. You know, you want to keep your investments very close to your chest. So these guys want to make sure that the people that are having under their thumb, they're doing their job. Why is Witkoff talking to Putin 3 times already? He's the Middle East envoy. I never heard he's the envoy to Russia. Another guy is the envoy to Russia, the general whatever his name is. Another guy is the envoy to Ukraine, but he was not accepted by the Russians. But Witkoff is accepted by the Russians. If Mr. Zelensky would be a Romanian president of Ukraine, and you would have an American, envoy, another Romanian sent to talk to Putin, wouldn't you be a little bit suspicious? Or let's say Zelensky was Russian, ethnic Russian, like many are in Ukraine. And he would be the president-elect of Ukraine because democracy works over there. And let's say the United States of America would send to Russia to speak with Putin, to negotiate with Putin in the name of America, a Russian, ethnic Russian citizen from America. Wouldn't you be suspicious a little bit that maybe something there that should not be? Blinken, the former Secretary of State of the Americans, was also Jewish. He dealt with everybody else. Like Mr. Witkoff is the acting, I would say, Secretary of State, currently Secretary of State. I think he would take Rubio's job. Just a gut feeling. We'll find out. If he doesn't, maybe it's going to be a Goldberg or Mr. Kosman or something like that. You know what I mean. We'll find out. But remember, Hegseth did the same thing Waltz did. Waltz was fired, Hegseth was not yet. Why? I think he saved his ass by his statement about Iran. These guys, when they get elected or they get appointed, like in this case of these baboons, they know what they need to do. They know who promoted them. They know who opened the door to them. Like Trump. How do you think Trump got selected for us to confirm him through the voting machine, electronic voting machines? He said, I will do that, and I will do that. Look, for instance, in Great Britain. Do you see that baboon? His name is Boris Johnson. He yells from the bottom of his lungs that he's going to send more military, he's going to help this, going to help that. It's a fight over there. Who's going to send more weapons to Ukraine to fight the Russians? That's how they're picked. But it's not the only one. That's the problem. He already screwed up once. So his chance was gone, kind of. These guys are not forgiving. But remember, their philosophy is not turn the other cheek. Their philosophy is an eye for an eye. Read the Old Testament. You're going to find that to be true. So he fucked up. He's out. The same with Mike Waltz. He didn't probably do what he was supposed to. Get out so you make room for our boy to replace the baboon Rubio. In the meantime, Hegseth is doing our job. We're leaving over there. And Trump is doing our job by not saying anything about Gaza. Anything about what's going on over there. Nothing. Hey, it's about Ukraine and Putin, don't hit cities. Putin, don't hit civilians. I'm getting upset. I'm going to sanction you. I get upset. Did you hear anything about Gaza? Do you think things that happen in Gaza are better than what happens in Kiev or, Sumy or in Kharkiv? You think so? If you think so, I want you to do this. Don't believe me. Go online and look at some pictures. Please do that. And after that, you tell me if those are surgical strikes or just flattening the land. And then don't you wonder why Trump doesn't say anything about that? On the contrary, he threatens those guys' enemy, Iran, with America's military attack on them. He never threatened the Russians with a military attack, but he threatens Iran. Strange? Not at all. If you know the dynamics, you know who's who, what's what, you immediately connect the dots. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.